Oh my god, please, 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 I'm ready to lose money. I'm okay with losing money. Just drop a little more. Please, please just go down. Stop! Stop! No! No, please, please don't. So, how did we get here? Why is this cute anime girl having a meltdown over Forex trends? Well, our story begins a couple of months ago in June 2014. Our protagonist, Mibuki, is a third-year university student. Just like any other millennial, Mibuki doesn't want to work and craves a life of comfort built upon a stable stream of income. In her mind, there's nothing more miserable than being part of the rat race and slaving for pennies. However, life is pretty harsh and Mibuki certainly doesn't have the money she needed to live that dream. That was, however, going to change soon. You see, Mibuki has managed to find a friend in university named Mochiko. Mochiko is a Forex trader and seems to know a lot about the subject. Although Mibuki wasn't familiar with the specific details, she knew that traders made a lot of money and she really wanted to join. Mochiko, on the other hand, isn't extremely fond of Mibuki. You see, Mochiko likes to be efficient with her energy and doesn't really want to spend time hanging out with gullible airheads. Instead, Mochiko refers her friend Kurumi to become Mibuki's mentor. Although Kurumi didn't have as much money as Mochiko, she was also an experienced Forex trader who managed to turn her initial 300 grand into 1.4 million. And so one day, Mochiko brings Mibuki over to Kurumi and asks if she could be Mibuki's mentor. Kurumi was hesitant at first and doubted if her skills in trading were good enough to teach Mibuki. After some back and forth, Mochiko managed to convince her to take the job. I believe the amount of knowledge you have determines your final fate. At least help her survive through a possible layman shock. Can you really watch this helpless girl lose her way in Forex trading? Alright, but I can only teach you what I know. Thank you so much, Kurumi-senpai! Seeing the two come to an agreement, Mochiko leaves her classes while the two head out to an empty classroom to start the whole Forex trading lessons. Okay, well, how much are you initially investing? Well, I have 200 grand. Wow, you must have a lot saved up. Is that from doing part-time jobs? No, it's my student loans. Why would I need to work when I have money directly deposited into my account? Just like many of you watching the video right now, Kurumi is understandably a little concerned for Mibuki. It's pretty much common sense to not trade with debt. Kurumi's initial 300 grand was money she saved from part-time jobs. However, Mibuki is extremely excited about the prospect of Forex trading and Kurumi couldn't really find any chance to stop her. Instead, she decides to just teach her the basics and hope for the best. After setting up an account, Mibuki immediately asks her a question. Is this going up or down? I don't really know this stuff. Can you just teach me a cheap method which works every time? Kurumi was shocked at the lack of knowledge Mibuki had. It seemed that she wasn't even familiar with assessing trends. Nonetheless, she decides to still respect her duties as a mentor and starts giving some advice. The currency pair that Mibuki showed Kurumi was the British pound Japanese yen pair. Kurumi doesn't quite get why Mibuki would choose this specific currency pair, but she still uses her pure instincts alone to predict that the trend will dump, or in other words, it's going down. Going down, that means I have to sell, right? Okay, I'll trust you on this. Wait, don't do that! You shouldn't decide based on short trends. Anything can happen. What if it rises? Alright, let's go. Let's short this. Shorting's when you sell, right? Yeah, I've learned this whole trading stuff before. Kurumi doesn't know if barely knowing how to short qualifies as having learned Forex trading. To her shock though, the market seems to be favoring this gullible newbie as the British pound Japanese yen does indeed dump. As the trend continues to drop, Mibuki's estimated profits also come to around 21,000 yen. Seeing those numbers, Mibuki is extremely excited. You're so good at this! I think I figured out the sure-win strategy of Forex trading. There's no sure-win strategy to... Yeah, there is. I just have to keep trading based on your recommendations. We can trade together so we can both win. After making that bold claim, it's been about 2 weeks. Mibuki is incredibly happy about her recent gains, which were achieved through the guidance of Kurumi. As she leaves to go out, she stumbles across her friend and neighbor, Yasuko. The duo quickly decided to head to the game arcade together and catch up. Mibuki took this opportunity to quickly share her recent encounters with Forex trading. She explained in detail how she met Mochiko and Kurumi and has made over 150 grand in profits while trading with Kurumi's help. Yasuko was very shocked by the reveal. You see, she had also conducted Forex trading before. Unlike Mibuki though, she's only lost money doing her trades. Because of the experience, Yasuko knew immediately that Mibuki must have used a high leverage in order to earn that much in such a short amount of time. Seeing her light-hearted friend, she quickly gave Mibuki some warnings. You know, if you keep doing this, you're gonna have to become an escort or something to pay off all your debt. Escort? What would I be escorting? Oh, that's not what escorting means. Basically, I'm saying that you would just lose all your money in Forex trading. It's so addictive instinctive. Once you suffer a loss, you try to chase that and gamble it back. If you keep losing, then you'll eventually go bankrupt from all the bills you pile up. I should be fine though, I have Kurumi-senpai to guide me. Well, okay. What currency pair are you trading on? British pound. Are you insane? Yasuko was quite upset about Mibuki's decision. The British pound was a currency with a lot of history and, as a result, a lot of fluctuations. Since Mibuki was using a high leverage, she was essentially riding a roller coaster with no seatbelts on. Mibuki dismissed Yasuko's concerns. After all, she had a sure win plan, always listening to Kurumi-senpai's instructions. Time quickly flies as it's now July 15th, 2014. Mibuki has now earned over 400 grand through listening to Kurumi's suggestions about forex trading. Now, you might think Mibuki is just leeching off Kurumi and isn't actually contributing anything at all. In reality, it's actually quite the opposite. She might not have realized this, but Mibuki is such a newbie, her predictions about the market were almost 100% wrong. In a way, it's actually made Kurumi's life easier as she simply has to guess the opposite of Mibuki's predictions. Yasuko, on the other hand, is also aware that Mibuki hasn't stopped trading forex. Unlike the naive Mibuki, she's extremely cautious of forex trading. Furthermore, she also thinks Mibuki's supposed mentors seem too good to be true. Wanting to assess if Mibuki was being deceived, Yasuko decides to meet them in person. She meets with Mibuki and is quickly brought to meet both Kurumi and Mochiko. Seeing Mibuki's friend, Kurumi quickly starts up a conversation. You must be Yasuko, right? You didn't go to our university. Which school are you attending? Well, I attended college before, but I'm just freelancing right now. Yasuko's an artist. She wants to chase her dreams and start her own designer brand someday. Wow, really? Can you draw your design for us? Yasuko is a bit shy to share her designs, but she still obliges, and both Kurumi and Mochiko are wowed by her art, complimenting her talent. Seeing their kind gestures, Yasuko changes her mind. Maybe they're actually just really nice people that are helping Mibuki? It's really not that good. I've made some merchandise, but it's not really selling at all, and it's kind of tough to earn money right now. You can earn some money, just do some forex trading. Mibuki, haven't I told you I don't want to? Oh, well, I'm sorry, but you're the only one of us who hasn't earned anything yet. Yasuko couldn't respond to that because Mibuki was right. She herself has also traded forex before, but she's never won anything. Was it a skill issue? Maybe if she tried again, she'll win at forex. Alright, fine. I'll do some forex trading, but let me emphasize this. I'm only going to touch non-volatile, low-leverage currencies to keep my risk low. Mibuki was really excited about Yasuko's change. Since all four of them were trading forex, she came up with a great idea. The idea was to conduct a race on forex trading. The person who wins the most will become the winner. Mochiko and Kurumi were both interested. Yasuko also complies, but due to her risk aversion tendencies, she doesn't plan on winning at all. While everything had been going great for Mibuki so far, the Japanese yen market was not looking so hot that year. As summer rolls around, so begins a long and convoluted journey for poor Mibuki as the market enters a period of drastic change. Mibuki is still blissfully unaware of the change though. She had gone home for the summer and was relaxing with her family. On August 13th, she called Kurumi and asked for some more advice on trading forex. To be more specific, she was inquiring about the British pound US dollar pair. I think you should just watch for now. Don't make any trades. What? I think it's gonna rise though. No, I think it's just better to watch for now. For the first time, Mibuki wanted to question Kurumi's recommendation. Perhaps the consecutive wins she's had for the past couple of months boosted her ego in a way. She was quite firm in her belief that the pound was going to rise against the US dollar. Nonetheless, she couldn't get to express her opinion any further as Kurumi Hana and her mother called her down to get dinner. Mibuki's family was just like any average household. She had a nagging mother, a doting father, and a mischievous little brother who always got on her nerves. The dinner tonight was just like any other and had the usual bickering. Did you clean your room? Yes! As if I believe you. You're probably just wasting your money again. No, I'm actually saving a lot of money. Oh really? Then I guess you can just pay for your own tuition, right? I have better ways to spend that money though. There's nothing better than paying for your own education. You know that girl next door has been... Annoyed by her mom's usual nagging, Mibuki storms off to her bedroom. I guess it doesn't hurt to at least pay for her tuition. Maybe she'll even become a scholar or something. Yeah, there's no way, was the response both Mibuki's mom and brother gave to that quite outlandish claim. Meanwhile, Mibuki has sworn she would prove her mother wrong. Using student loans to pay for tuition was too much of a waste. Using it to earn money in the forex market was the best decision. As she pulled up her account and saw the trends, she got even angrier when she saw that the pound had indeed gone up. Gosh, Kurumi-senpai was wrong. Mebuki believed she was experienced enough to make decisions without relying on Kurumi. Perhaps she can even surpass Kurumi and earn even more money. Driven by her desire to earn big, Mebuki immediately longed 100 lots in the British pound US dollar pair. Now, you might be wondering, how is Mebuki able to get 100 lots when she only has 695 grand in her account? You see, Mebuki is trading with a leverage of 246. Yes, you heard me right, 246. At a leverage ratio of 246, Mebuki isn't just playing with fire, she's essentially poured gasoline all over herself and decided to do a bonfire dance. The ratio is so high, she doesn't have any wiggle room, one small slip up, and... Let's come back from that analogy. After longing 100 lots, Mebuki's position wasn't looking too great at first. The British pound US dollar pair was actually dropping, leading to her suffering some losses. Of course, since the numbers weren't huge, Mebuki wasn't too concerned. As she anxiously waited, the clock hit 6:30. August 13th, 6:30 p.m. was when the Bank of England officially published its quarterly inflation report. The inflation report was one of many economic reports that provides information on important statistics such as the GDP, CPI, and inflation. The contents of this report are so important, it can destroy a seemingly stable market. Mebuki froze. Her eyes were glued to the screen as the value of her profits exponentially increased. In a way, she wasn't even excited about the money, she was just in awe at the speed the numbers were jumping at. How much higher could it possibly go? When is this going to end? Within seconds, the glorious earnings of almost 600 grand immediately turned into a staggering loss. Mebuki was panicking. Her hands were shivering as she tried to calm down. It's okay. It's definitely gonna rebound. I don't need to earn 600 grand, I'm okay with just 200 grand. Oh my god! Getting so anxious, Mebuki decided to look online for the reason behind this drop. What the fuck are indexes and carny? What is this gibberish? Not satisfied with her findings, Mebuki decided to message Kurumi for help instead. After receiving an answer, Mebuki isn't satisfied. In fact, she actually starts blaming Kurumi. If Kurumi-senpai knew about this whole index stuff, why didn't she tell me? Seeing this, a glimmer of hope had lit up within Mebuki. She doesn't know who Carney is, but her mind was filled with a new sense of anticipation at the possibility of a bullish market. Maybe the market will go crazy and shoot so high it'll cost me to earn a bunch of money. She always thought the name Carney sounded pretty nice. Hey, maybe they were secretly best friends in a previous life or something, and he was now going to get her out of this dilemma. At 6:34 p.m., Mark Carney, the governor of the Bank of England, made a statement about his pessimistic outlook at increasing the interest rate. As a result, investors adjusted their interest in the British economy, and that was directly seen in the rates of the British pound. Wait, isn't this kind of bad? What if this value becomes greater than my initial investment? Do I owe them money? Oh god, no, I can't owe money. What is mom gonna think? Oh, I should have just sold when I had a profit. Oh god, please, anybody help me. I will never be greedy again, please, please, please. Hello? Hey, Mebuki, how you doing? Still trading Forex? Yeah. What's wrong? You sound kind of upset. Did you lose some money? Yeah, a little. Well, how much did you lose? It's not that much. Probably around 100 grand. Ouch. You must have lost a lot. Well, I think you should get out when you still can, before getting annihilated by a volatile currency like the British pound. Yeah, of course. Thanks. I gotta go, bye. Mebuki had lied to Yasuko. She knew if she told Yasuko the truth, it would just worry her friend. She looked at her zero remaining balance and flinched. However, she quickly got back on her foot as she found the solution to her current demise. Technically, she's only lost the initial 200 grand of money she invested into the account. If she taps into the remaining of her student loans, she'll have a chance to win it all back. On September 8th, Mebuki decided to transfer 600 grand of her student loans into the Forex trading account. The previous setback didn't seem to affect her at all as she's more excited than ever. In her mind, winning the money back was a guarantee and she never even considered the possibility of losing. Using her tuition money wasn't a waste, she was just earning back her previous losses. Since she didn't have to pay her tuition until April 2015, which was next year, she had plenty of time. She would use the 600 grand to earn 200 grand and immediately withdraw. No more being greedy again. She's definitely going to stop when her profits reach 200 grand and escape scot-free from this market. Scared by the catastrophic results from the British pound US dollar pair, she decided to go for the easy US dollar Japanese yen pair. She immediately sells 10 lots, wanting to short this currency pair. In Mebuki's mind, the current state of 105 yen is just way too high. It's the highest rate that year. Clearly, all the other investors are going to panic sell, dropping the price, maybe even having a dump until 100 yen. Mebuki was delighted by her plan. In her mind, even if it didn't drop to 100, as long as it dropped to 103, she would still be able to make back her 200 grand. Sadly for Mebuki, the rates actually increased to 106. She didn't have any more time to stare at the screen as it's now end of summer break and she needed to go back to school. Mebuki's family was still oblivious to the antics their daughter was up to. Mebuki headed back to her place and continued to watch the charts for the next 5 days. Unfortunately, the US dollar Japanese yen market kept pumping, all the way until it reached 107.34. As she sat by her desk, Mebuki glared at the charts and yelled for the rates to go down. She doesn't understand why people aren't selling when it's at such a high number. The setback from trading British pound was so traumatizing, Mebuki decided to pick up some quick intro guides and is now at least somewhat aware of what indexes are. Because of this, she knew that the FOMC conference was happening and that an economic index was about to be published. In her mind, she fantasized about the dreamy outcome where the rates skyrocketed due to all the anxious longers. She nervously looked at the time as it eventually ticked down to 3 p.m., the moment when the statement of interest rate policy was released at the FOMC conference. Oh my god, it dropped! Yes! Wait, what? No! The changes of the trend was so frustrating, Mebuki decided to short another 10 lots. Upset by the change of events, Mebuki angrily decides to go to bed. As she calmed down a bit, she finally realized the corner she has put herself into. Selling another 10 lots was great if the rates dropped, as she would earn a lot more money. However, that sentiment worked the same way in the other direction. If the rates increased, she would lose everything. Her max supposed deadline was 109.6. The rate steadily pumped as Mebuki intently stared at the lines which determined her fate. She was only 1.5 yen away from losing her entire student tuition. Lying in bed, Mebuki was consumed by her fears. My mom is gonna be so angry if she finds out. Even dad would get pissed. They also have to pay for my little brother's tuition. We also have that mortgage left. I can't lose. I just can't lose all my money. I have to win it back. As she got ready the next morning, she put on her television and saw the daily fortune-telling segment. The luckiest horoscope today is the Pisces. Your lucky item today is the bracelet. Mebuki was never a superstitious person and never believed in fortune-telling, but in her current mental state, she needed every last strand of hope. The growing pressures of the rising market had morphed her mindset into believing anything that was even relatively in her favor. She grabbed a bracelet and came up with an ultimate plan to get her out of her situation, a plan she calls Operation Frugality. She would deposit as much money as she can into the Forex account to save her position. Allowance is given to her every month on the 10th. If she becomes as frugal as possible and uses just the bare minimum, she'll be able to deposit the rest into her Forex account. I mean, she really only needed 1 meal per day, so bread and water were enough. Combined with the food her family often sends, she would at least not get scurvy. By squeezing almost every dollar, she'll be able to increase that deadline and keep her position secure. It was perfect! Mebuki then deposits another 100 grand into her account and sits back to await her profit. Soon enough though, Mebuki quickly realizes the drawbacks of her supposed perfect plan. No matter how frugal she got, the most she could deposit each month was 100 grand, or about 0.5 yen in deadline terms. The rates, however, had moved nearly 4 yen in the past 2 weeks she held her position. At this rate, there was no way her deposits could catch up. Seeing the text, Mebuki almost jumped like a startled animal. She was not in the mood for a meetup. Oh god, they're just texting without me. Oh, I can't do this. Wait, maybe... That Friday, the four gathered at Mebuki's place. Mebuki had offered her place only because meeting elsewhere meant another chip at her non-existent account balance. She couldn't offer any snacks as those were her emergency food. Instead, she just prepared some tea. She bought the tea out and ignored Yasuko's pouty expressions. Acting out cute like that isn't gonna earn you any snacks, Yasuko. Mibiki, where are you going? Don't you want to talk with us? We were just giving ideas on Yasuko's merchandise. Oh, sorry, I still have some emails I gotta respond to. Mibiki had no time to chat. Any time wasted not looking at the charts was suicide in her mind, until she curled up looking at the charts while the trio had some fun in the living room. After the trio finished their conversation about Yasuko's art, Kurumi brought out a list of rules for the forex trading competition the four were in. The race would end that Christmas, and the winner would be the person who had the largest percentage in gains. That winner would then treat everyone to dinner. Yasuko was very excited about free food. Yasuko, you know if you win, you have to treat everyone to dinner, right? Oh, don't worry about that. I'm definitely gonna lose. I lost about 5,000 yen, or about 7% of my initial investment. 5,000 yen? That's nothing compared to my loss. Actually, percentage-wise, I think I'm the biggest loser. I lost about 1.2 million, or about 10% of my initial investment. In reality, Mochiko actually had a profit of 10%. She just didn't feel like it was necessary to share the real details on her trading situation. The three were all super shocked. Mibiki even felt a little better since she and Mochiko lost about the same amount, although the ratio isn't quite the same. Come on, Kurumi, you earned a lot of money, didn't you? Wait, you still have that US dollar Japanese yen position? Well, I haven't closed it yet. Actually, I think I'll just place the order. Yeah, I got a little greedy. I think I earned about 1.5 million. Kurumi-senpai made a profit? Wait, that means she longed US dollar Japanese yen. Regret instantly washed over Mibiki. If Kurumi-senpai earned this much money, then she should have just listened to her the entire time. What was even the point of venturing on my own then? Yasuko noticed Mibiki lying on the ground and decided to comfort her dear friend. Maybe this whole review session was too harsh for Mibiki, as she clearly is losing some money on the market. Mibiki, you don't have to tell us your returns. This whole competition is just for fun, right? Let's just get a free meal out of this. No, I'm gonna fight. I can't reveal how much I'm earning right now, but I have the best position out there. I am gonna become the final winner. Yasuko meant well, but what she doesn't know is Mibiki is just too far gone. As the meetup ended, Kurumi and Yasuko said their goodbyes and left. Mochiko, however, stayed behind as Mibiki wanted to ask her about something. As she walked by the box of food Mibiki's parents left her, she couldn't help but feel a sense of envy at the loving support Mibiki's parents gave her. So, what did you want to talk about? It's forex related, right? Yes. Don't you have the best position? I don't think you need my help then. It's because I'm losing a lot of money from this position. That's pretty shabby for something you call the best position. How much are you losing? As Mochiko looked over Mibiki's position of shorting US dollar Japanese yen, she instantly knew that Mibiki had lost big from the recent rises. Well, the 700 grand you have here were all earned based on your initial 200 grand, right? Even if you lose it all, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. No, you don't get it. The 700 grand here isn't from my initial 200 grand. It's actually from my own tuition. I have to save it for next year. I've already lost that initial 200 grand from the British pound. Huh, I see. Wow, what a huge clown we have here. Mochiko knew Mibiki was a gullible simpleton who knew nothing about investing, but she didn't know how bad Mibiki could have gotten. What do I do? Calm down, Mibiki. First, you made the right decision to further deposit your student loans. But I only did it because I lost a lot of money. And that's why you made the right decision. If you didn't deposit more money, how are you supposed to win it back? Plus, even if you lose everything, your parents are gonna help you, right? My family is not that rich either. Oh, I'm sure your parents would do anything for their baby girl. Our university is also quite lenient, so they're not gonna immediately kick you out for not paying tuition. Here's the important part. The rate for the US dollar and Japanese yen is definitely going to dump. Oh my god, really? How much? Well, probably 100 yen. Mochiko, of course, didn't mention how long such a drop would take and if Mibiki would even hold up before she's liquidated. You see, the thing with markets is that it's so unpredictable, anything could happen. Let me tell you something else. You know Kurumi once earned a lot of money, right? Well, she only won because she borrowed a lot of money to hold her position. Really? Yeah, considering the trend back then, I wouldn't be surprised if she lost all her money. I can't imagine how she would have survived had she not somehow deposited more money through a loan of some kind. She may look pretty cute, but she's definitely quite a gambler. Aha! I knew it! Kurumi-senpai must have won because she was just lucky. Mibiki started to believe that Kurumi wasn't that good at trading, or at least that's what she tells herself to believe in. In her mind, the huge wins Kurumi were bringing in earlier was just because she got lucky. Mibiki's losses, though, were just because luck wasn't on her side. Her luck was at pitch bottom before, which meant it could only get better now. From now on, she was going to bounce back while Kurumi was going to lose big. She opened her laptop thinking the rate would have stabilized at 109 and would drop soon. only to see it at 110 yen. Oh shit, I let my guard down. I didn't think it was gonna rise again. I only have 30 grand left. The rate for the US dollar and Japanese yen is definitely going to dump. Okay, calm down. I haven't died yet. Let me try and analyze why I lost. Oh, I get it. It's because I'm looking at the screen. That's why it's rising. I just have to look away then. Yes! Oh my god. Okay, I gotta look away. And so, for about 9 hours, Mibby continued to play peekaboo with her forex trends, keenly watching the changes in the exchange rate. Eventually, Mibby did realize that her looking had nothing to do with the market. All she's doing is starving herself and exhausting her energy. Oh god, please. Please don't. Please don't do that. Please don't jump above 110. Please, I beg you. Oh my god, it finally dropped. Finally, my luck has arrived. Maybe I can even win big this time. This must be the miracle God has bestowed upon me. I'm never going to let go of this position. Just like that, the increasing rates of the US dollar Japanese yen market finally stabilized at 110 after a consistent uptrend since August. It's now October 15th. Mibuki, Mochiko, and Kurumi have gathered at a fast food restaurant to catch up a bit. Kurumi was a bit worried about Mibuki's grades since she had been skipping a lot of her classes, but she felt a little better after seeing Mibuki in person. Mibuki, on the other hand, wasn't extremely satisfied with the cheap-looking fast food. She honestly expected something a little more luxurious after her treacherous journey of sitting through that pump. Nonetheless, a smile still creeped up on her face as the meat touched her palate. Was it good? I guess it's better than I thought. While Mibuki ate her meal, Mochiko and Kurumi began discussing the trends of the US dollar Japanese yen. Mochiko, I think the rates are probably going to pump soon. Ugh, it's obviously going to dump. The geopolitical tensions are easing up. Furthermore, the third round of quantitative easing is also about to conclude. I think the US dollar is almost done with its consolidation at these lows, so I'm expecting a bullish market trend. Mibuki doesn't understand anything Kurumi just said. She does know that Kurumi is all talk though. Even if she might be throwing around really cool terms like that, she doesn't know what she's doing. This assumes that the recent drop is only viewed as a corrective consolidation, but even so, instead of saying it was caused by USD depreciation, shouldn't we also consider Japanese yen appreciation as a factor? At this point, it's just too difficult to judge which way the market will go. It feels quite unclear. Bank of Japan's accommodative policy has almost pretty much reached its limit. Mibuki also didn't understand what Mochiko was saying, but she was able to sense that Mochiko didn't agree with Kurumi, and that's all she needed to confirm her belief that the market was going to dump. To earn more money, she decided to deposit this month's allowance, another 100 grand, into her account right there at the table. I still think it's going to dump though. I guess I'll just play it safe and withdraw a million out. Oh, I almost forgot I had class. See you later. God, why even withdraw? Just keep it all there and bust already. Mochiko-senpai, is Kurumi-senpai going to long US dollar Japanese yen? I think so. I think she's gonna lose then. Why? Because Kurumi-senpai only got here with sheer luck. She's only been winning consecutively because she's really lucky. But according to statistics, the more you win, the more likely you'll lose next time. If I toss a coin and get heads 10 times, then there's a higher chance I'll get tails the 11th time. That's just how it works. What the fuck? Is she brain dead or something? Am I actually speaking to a real human being right now? Did she even graduate high school? How did she come up with the most bogus statistical theory I've ever heard? Yeah, Kurumi is really lucky, I'll give you that, but to conclude her wins on luck alone is beyond disrespectful. The only thing Mochiko could do was politely smile at Mibuki's outlandish statement. That night, Mibuki was delighted to see another drop, which finally led her to have profits in her position. I'm finally free. Wait, free? Kurumi made 1.5 million. I don't want to just be free. I can't be satisfied just by breaking even. Why did I suffer this long then? It's just not worth it. I can't leave with these small numbers. I have to earn big. Just like that, Mibuki decided to keep holding her position. As the rates dropped to 105.05, Mibuki's profits also inched around 200 grand. Her current total is 1 million. If she took out 600 and 200 grand respectively, her initial goal would be met and she would then have 200 grand left in her account. Those numbers didn't sway her as greed had completely overpowered even the last shred of caution she had against the market. After seeing how easy it was to earn money via trading, Mibuki felt like 200 grand was just the beginning. Her perception of money had been warped by being in this field. Why stop at 200 grand when you can go higher and earn 300 grand, 400 grand, or maybe even a million yen? 200 grand just feels so little. Mibuki's thoughts went back to Kurumi's huge profits. 1,000,000 yen, 200 grand was not nearly enough. She should just hold on, since there was still time before having to pay tuition. In Mibuki's mind, the best scenario is if the rates dropped all the way to the historical low value of 70. She would then close, make a huge profit, and then repeat the same when it rises back to 120. That way, she can become a billionaire and never have to worry about money again. Yeah, the only chance of that happening is if Thanos decided to invade the United States of America. The market is a chaotic ground, and its changes sometimes even influence the traders who attentively watch it. Objectively speaking, the human mind is also a source of chaos, changing so frequently it's hard to tell what next steps a person might take. In the end though, it's up to Mibuki to make the final decision. Right now, her scale is leaning more and more towards holding her short position. Why? Well, Mibuki, just like many investors, is a flawed human with cognitive biases. She has viewed that steep drop 2 weeks ago, which saved her, as a sign from God to continue holding her position. It might sound kind of surprising, but the market does sometimes act in the favor of fanatics like this. In fact, these gamblers are usually the ones who manage to win it big in the end. However, what if the market doesn't obey the wishes of these faithful believers? If we look back from the future, this exact moment was the last chance Mibuki had at reclaiming her normal life. The rates have now increased to 106.783, but Mibuki wasn't worried. She wholeheartedly believed the prices were going to dump and the pump was just temporary. Mibuki was dismissal of Kurumi's decisions, thinking she must have made a huge mistake. However, her attitude would quickly change once she realized Yasuko also believed the rates would go up. Worried that Yasuko was also going too long, Mibuki quickly went over and tried to warn her friend. Yasuko was working on her comic. Unlike the remaining trio, Yasuko wasn't a student anymore and needed to do adult things like working on her freelance art career. So are you shorting then? Aren't you scared since it's already rebounded back by almost 1 yen from the lowest point? Yes, I plan on shorting. I want to trust this short position that's been through so much with me. Yasuko was a little confused about the so-called been through so much. She only realized upon inquiring further that Mibuki actually held the short position, not when the drop first happened, but back when the US dollar Japanese yen steadily increased in September. Worried about her friend's mental state, Yasuko wanted to stop Mibuki from being so reckless. Mibuki, no offense, but you have to sell your position now. Why? I can make a lot of money from this. You're being so irrational right now. If it keeps rising, you could risk losing everything. I learned it the hard way. Yasuko, what do you know about Forex? You're just a noob. I'm not a noob. I've done this way before you did. Ah, come on, stop lying. You've never even won any money. That's not the point. I just don't want you to fail like me. I would only fail if I didn't take advantage of the rise later and earn a bunch of money. Thank you for being considerate though. I have to go. Good luck on your comic. Yasuko could only sigh as Mibuki stormed out in anger. As Mibuki went back to her place, she couldn't help but start doubting her decisions. Since both Kurumi and Yasuko believed that the price would go up, she felt kind of outnumbered now. Was it really going to rise? In a state of panic, she decided to call Mochiko to ask about what she believed the rates would behave like. At the receiving end, Mochiko looked at the trends of the US dollar Japanese yen rates and believed that it's likely going to pump. Earlier drop was likely from panic selling, and although it might drop later, there's not enough evidence to support that. Mochiko didn't immediately give her that answer. Instead, she asked Mibuki what she planned on doing. I think it's going to dump, but if you're planning on longing, then I'll also follow suit. Mochiko couldn't believe that Mibuki still held that garbage position and was still shorting despite the recent changes. Is it really going to pump? Everyone's saying that. I'm kind of worried. No, Mibuki, it's going to dump. You're right here. I'm also going to short just like you. Mochiko said as she bought 50 lots of US dollar Japanese yen, longing the currency pair. In the past, in order to detect toxic gases within caves, miners would bring canaries as detection systems. The canaries were more sensitive and noticed abnormalities way before the humans could. As soon as it stopped chirping, the miners knew there was danger ahead. Mibuki was Mochiko's canary. It's highly likely that Mibuki would continue shorting even if the rates pump later. As long as Mibuki continued to push on, it was safe for Mochiko to keep holding the long position, at least until her personal canary eventually breaks from the pressure. Mibuki was far more reliable than any financial advisor Mochiko has had. Mibuki, on the other hand, couldn't help but feel assured from the bond she and Mochiko shared in their short positions. In her mind, Mochiko was a professional trader whose advice was far superior to newbies like Kurumi or Yasuko. Time quickly flies, and it's now approaching November as the Japanese yen continued to depreciate against the USD. Mibuki's position has been doing well from the pumping prices, but she seems irrationally calm about it. On one hand, it was because she had a false hope due to the supposed kinship she thought she had with Mochiko. On the other hand, it was common for addicted investors like her to become numb about large numbers. In her blind chase for winning at Forex, Mibuki had completely forgotten the real purposes of her funds and the responsibilities she was carrying. On October 31st, 2014, while most people celebrated Halloween, the market was hit by a huge tremor. The source came from the Bank of Japan as they announced a monetary policy, the expansion of the quantitative and qualitative easing policy. To put simply, quantitative easing is a monetary policy that increased the supply of money, which would devalue that specific currency. The decision made by the Bank of Japan was to continue and even expand on the currently implemented policy, originally introduced on April 4th, 2013. Analyzing the specific impacts of this policy is another can of worms, but the problem was that many investors expected the policy was going to be over soon. The shock from this announcement had caused the USD Japanese yen market to erupt like never before. Clueless about the change, Mibuki left her phone aside to pick up the package sent by her family. Within it, she saw an endearing note written by her mother. "Dear Mibuki, must be tough saving for your tuition, so I sent you some food. Do your best, honey." Insane? Wait, like, in a good way insane, right? Mibuki went over to her laptop and opened her account to look at her investment. Oh shit. Fuck. Oh shit. Fuck. I'm so fucked. Oh fuck. It's all over. I'm so fucked. I'm really fucked if I don't earn this back. I have to earn my money back. In a state of panic due to losing her entire account balance, Mibuki could only anxiously fumble around, looking for anything that would let her earn back that loss. Her bank account and wallet were both empty though. As she dumped the contents of her wallet onto her desk, she discovered her last beacon of hope: credit cards. The international forex trading account that Mibuki used allowed depositing via credit cards, without a fee too. Mibuki hasn't used any of her 3 credit cards, so she technically still had 300 grand at her disposal. Furthermore, credit cards also allowed repayment in installments, so she didn't have to immediately pay them back. But was she really going to do this? Mibuki wasn't the most financially savvy person, but she instinctively knew the dangerous territory she was about to step foot into. But why? Why did it pump? Didn't Mochiko-senpai also agree with my hypothesis? Does USD Japanese yen hate me or something? The pump only slowed down after I was liquidated. Is this a sign from God that it's now dumping time now that I've died? But my tuition, it's all gone now. Oh my god, see, it keeps dumping. If I didn't deposit money right now, I would lose out on that huge dump later. Mibuki quickly entered her credit card information, deposited 300 grand, and immediately sold 20 lots. In her mind, she fantasized about making a huge amount of money, so huge it'll cover all her losses. As soon as it drops to 102, I'm gonna close my position and earn 2 million, which is more than enough to recoup my losses. The liquidation deadline is at 114 and there's just no way it'll go that high. Unfortunately for Mibuki, the rates continue to pump. Oh god, what am I supposed to do? Mochiko-senpai, please help me.
Let me tell you something else. You know Kurumi once earned a lot of money, right? Well, she only won because she borrowed a lot of money to hold her position.
Maybe I can win as long as I continuously deposit more money? I see. This must be the method Mochiko-senpai was trying to tell me about. I shouldn't give up even if I had no money. It's not over if I continuously borrow more money and wait until the day I win. If I had unlimited money, then I would never be liquidated. Once it eventually dumps, I'll be able to perform a counterattack and win all my money back. Before Mibuki could get any further with her fantasies, her last remaining shred of sanity spoke to her in the form of Yasuko, and that's when Mibuki finally broke from her spiral. Her fantasy was never going to work. She was living inside a manga with the tags of psychological horror, and she was not Warren Buffett. If she really decided to take on even more debt, the trajectory of her life would be changed forever. I'm so glad you still get it. Let's just stop, okay? It's not too late to turn back. I'm sorry, I can't do it, I can't stop. I've lost all that money, I've even used up all my credit cards. I don't have any choice, I have to win, I'm sorry. What spawned in front of Mibuki was a staircase that burned her soul every step she took on it. There was no guarantee what was at the top, whether it's heaven or hell. Despite so, Mibuki could only climb. Like a donkey, she tread endlessly with a dangling hope that perhaps all her losses could be recouped once the rates dumped. On November 3rd, Mibuki went on the subway and arrived at a payday loan center. On the other hand, Kurumi, Mochiko, and Yasuko were shopping for work outfits. While looking at a suit, Mochiko received a text from Mibuki about her situation and honestly couldn't believe that Mibuki still refused to cut her losses and abandoned her position. Since her canary was still breathing, she might as well keep holding on to her current long position. As the trio finished at the store and walked out, Yasuko would find out that one of her posts had accidentally gone viral. She eventually decided to take out her money out of her Forex account and invest it on printing her comics for an upcoming event. Mochiko thought it was quite bold that Yasuko didn't choose to invest in the Forex market as the US dollar Japanese yen market was pumping like crazy. Having only learned this now, Yasuko couldn't help but worry for Mibuki as she recalled Mibuki's words a while back. Can you end up owing the platform money if you use an international Forex trading account? Well, the transactions themselves won't incur debt, at least that's how the design works, but it's a whole different story if the trader decides to borrow from external sources to fund their accounts. Well, I'm kind of worried for Mibuki. I think she's been shorting US dollar Japanese yen for a long time. I think she's probably lost all her money. I guess it's fine if she stops now and just learns a very expensive lesson, but I feel like she looks kind of weird lately and I'm just kind of worried. Is there any way we can help her? No, there's nothing we can do. Trading is personal liability and Mibuki made all those decisions. There's nothing we can help her with. And to be frank, it's none of our business. Yasuko, you're an experienced trader, you should know this. I know that, but I feel like we should help a friend when she needs it. To be honest, I am actually kind of worried about her because my mother committed suicide because of Forex trading. Mibuki has finished her business at the Payday Loan Center and has borrowed 300 grand. With this loan, she only has to pay the monthly interest, about 4,200 yen, and could pay back the principal anytime she wanted. In the worst case scenario, she only had to pay back the interest every month. What a surprisingly convenient loan. I wonder why people strongly recommend against it. She immediately went back to her place and deposited that 300 grand. Time passes, and it was now November 5th. Mibuki was now estimated to be losing 523 grand. In just 2 days, the previous loan she took out was going to just become fuel to the burning rise of the market. Mibuki could only sit in front of her desk and try to take deep breaths to calm down her anxiety. In the end though, the pressure built up was so overwhelming, she ran to the sink and vomited her guts out. Afterwards, she silently sat on her bed and thought of her next steps. The only thing she could do right now was wait for the next huge dump. And to do that, she needed more money. She needed to guard her position. She saw Yasuko's message, but she honestly doesn't have the effort or energy to reply. Instead, she decided to call Kurumi, even though she really didn't want to. I'm really sorry about this, but can I borrow some money? Due to the conversation earlier, Kurumi had already expected this call in some way. If Mibuki was struggling with basic necessities, she didn't mind lending 10 grand to help with food. How much do you need? I was hoping you could lend me 1,000,000 yen. That's pretty bad. What are you planning to use this money for? It's to win. You mean to win at Forex trading? Yes. Okay, Mibuki, you have to hear me out on this. You gotta stop. You gotta cut your losses, otherwise you're just gonna regret all your decisions. That's easy for you to say. Can you really stop if you're in my position? Kurumi-senpai, I can't lose anymore, please. Please, I beg you. If I had another 1,000,000, I'll be able to keep fighting. You must be able to understand how I feel, right? Of course, I'm definitely gonna pay you back. I'll pay you another 100 grand for your 1,000,000. I'll pay you 1.1 million. Isn't it a really good deal? Please, please, I beg you, please just lend me some money. I'll make it worthwhile for you. Kurumi-senpai, please, please. Sorry, I can't lend you the money. Is it because you don't trust me? No, of course not. What are you going to do if you lose again and just keep losing? Some people have died over things like this. You don't get to say that, Kurumi-senpai. You said that you're just gonna regret it, but that's not true. Didn't you borrow a lot of money to reverse your position last minute? You must have thought that sticking through was the better decision and that you earned a lot of money. That's just because I got lucky. You know what? It's okay. Forget I ever asked. Thank you for answering my call. Kurumi could only collapse on her bed after the stressful call with Mibuki. She doesn't understand why Mibuki knew about her previous investments. However, thinking back to the conversation she had earlier, she knew there was only one thing she could do. Yasuko was very pissed about Mebuki. She left her on red and was now desperately asking everyone for money. She stormed off and knocked on Mebuki's door, but heard no responses. My mother committed suicide because of forex trading. Yasuko became worried and gave Mebuki multiple calls, but they were all immediately hung up. Worried about Mebuki's mental state, Yasuko decided to run out and look for her. What she didn't know was that Mebuki had actually arrived at Mochiko's place. I'm really sorry about this, but can you please lend me some money? Mochiko thought about the earlier conversation about how Yasuko really wanted to help Mebuki even if she had this much debt. Then she looked at the desperate Mebuki begging for more money and knew that instant there was nothing they could do to help Mebuki. Well, how much are you looking to borrow? I was thinking of 1,000,000 yen. Ah, come on, lift your head. Of course I'll lend you some money. Not realizing what's about to happen, Mebuki was beyond thankful for Mochiko's kind gesture. She burst into tears and followed Mochiko into the living room. I do have 2 requirements though. The first is interest. Of course, I was gonna pay back some interest as a thank you anyways. And, well, this is a personal loan, so you're okay with the annual interest of 109.5%, right? Mebuki is quite gullible and new to the world of financing. However, even she knew that 109.5% is way too high. Why did Mochiko-senpai give such a specific interest rate? You see, the Interest Rate Act in Japan restricts the maximum rates which is legally allowed in loans. The number is around 20%, which means that if a loan exceeds that, the lender will be violating the law. This, however, only applies to commercial entities. Interpersonal loans, like the ones Mochiko is about to give, isn't regulated under that act. 109.5% was the highest limit. I also have another requirement. I think it's quite obvious, but you need to have a job. I can't lend money to a freeloader. Mochiko expressed that she wanted Mebuki to find a job and would only lend the money after Mebuki has secured a position. Mebuki initially suggested working night shifts at the convenience store, but Mochiko quickly dismissed it, as most owners would not hire a young woman like Mebuki for night shifts. Furthermore, the pay was also about 80 grand per month, and Mebuki needed to pay at least 90 grand on interest alone. Why can't you just make the interest rate a little cheaper then? On top of that, Mochiko informed Mebuki that loans often required the lenders to have a position that paid at least 3 times the amount of the loan. That meant Mebuki needed to find a job that would pay around 3 million per year. There's no way I can find a job like that. Of course you can. Here. Mochiko showed Mebuki her phone screen. Within it were multiple colorful advertisements for nighttime positions. Many promised high pay, flexible hours, no experience needed, and of course, only female applicants. Mebuki was naive enough to not understand what Mochiko was implying. You're joking, right? No, I'm dead serious. There's no way I can do something like that! I would do it if I were you. You might have thought that 1 million is enough, but let's face it, that's not nearly enough to wipe your ass. Okay, you're saying that I shouldn't borrow any money, right? Before this gets even more out of hand? No, I'm saying I can lend you 2 million. If you had this much, you could recoup your losses and even make more money. How much is the interest for 2 million? It's about 180 grand per month. Of course, you can easily make 6 million a year working at places like that. Do I not have any other choice then? Of course, I don't have to lend you money, but wouldn't it be such a waste though? You must have went through a lot to finally get here. Didn't you even take out your student loans? You even took money from payday loans. Think of all those days you forced yourself to remain frugal. It would all go to waste if you gave up here. You're pretty lucky too. Other people can't even lift themselves up in these kind of situations, but you have a chance. You can still rebound back. Most people wouldn't even lend you this much money. Even your best friends would only hand you 100 grand. What's there to hesitate about? You've already taken loans elsewhere, right? Can you really afford to be that picky right now? Isn't it better to pick a high-paying job if you want to pay back your debt? Why stoop to work at convenience stores for pennies when you have a much better choice? I mean, it's up to you, but wouldn't your mom be super sad if she found out you wasted all your student loans? Don't you want your normal life again? Do you want to drop out of school? Shouldn't you work hard? It's going to be tough at first, but you just have to stick through it and you win in the end. Can I really win it back if I borrow 2 million? Yeah, of course you can, Mebuki. I'm sure you're already an excellent forex fighter. Mebuki accepted her fate. Afterwards, Mebuki searched desperately and managed to find a position at a salon. Although the pay was lower and required some training, it promised that there's no sexual acts. Seeing Mebuki make up her mind, Mochiko immediately called the place and pushed Mebuki to schedule an interview. Since the salon was available for an interview immediately, Mochiko offered to pay for the transit to help Mebuki get there. Before Mebuki left though, she needed to get the contact information from Mebuki's family. Wait, don't tell my parents about this! I'm not going to tell your parents as long as you make your payments on time. I just need some insurance. It'll be bad if you miss your payments when you're sick or tired, right? I am lending you a lot of money. Mebuki, you won't let your parents down, right? Yes. As Mebuki left Mochiko's place, she thought back on the very beginning and start of her forex trading journey. As she looked at the city lights, she couldn't help but wonder what would happen if she never entered the world of forex trading. Yasuko also stared at the same sky, but only during a break from her rampant search to look for Mebuki. She has searched all the places Mebuki could possibly be in, but has failed to find her anywhere. In fact, she's even managed to be mistaken for an elementary school student due to her petite size. However, since she was stopped, she finally managed to find Mebuki as she walked into the subway station. Sorry, I saw my friend, I really gotta go. Come on, we can't just let a little kid like you storm off. Mebuki, don't go! I can't let my mom and dad deal with this. It's just too much. But honestly, I've already done some damage. They just don't know about it. I've been troubling them this entire time. I've also said terrible things to Yasuko, even though she was just worried about me. I might even lose a really important friend. Finally, I found you. What? How? Couldn't tell me everything? You wanted to beg to borrow some money? Yeah, I did. I'm a huge idiot. Yeah, you're a real idiot. Mebuki is the biggest, most idiotic person I've ever met. Is that what you ran all the way here for? Mebuki, no one would leave their friend alone when they're acting like idiots like this. Thank you. Yeah, okay, let's get on the train. The two finally catch up on the train and Mebuki explains to Yasuko her real situation. The losses, loans, and the fact that Mebuki still doesn't plan on giving up forex trading. Her tale was so heavy, Yasuko could only remain silent. Mebuki, wait! Oh, I guess it's here. I gotta go now. I really have to work now to pay off all that debt. Okay, I see. Good luck on your interview. Bye. Bye. As she watched Mebuki walk away, Yasuko couldn't help but feel extremely frustrated with the situation. She felt angry at herself for not being able to say anything, and also got angry at Mochiko. She doesn't understand why Mochiko would lend money to Mebuki. It's been a couple of days, and to the shock of Mochiko, the US dollar Japanese yen currency had pumped to 115.84, a value way higher than her expectations. To hold a short position in this market was beyond unlucky. As a fighter who was still holding on to her short position, Mebuki wasn't having a great time at her new job. One time, when she serviced a male guest, he quickly got up and suggested for more intimate services. She somehow escaped that situation, but was greeted by an angry coworker. The coworker was angry at Mebuki for not cleaning up the bathroom after her shift ended. Of course, Mebuki wasn't an irresponsible person, it's just that the bathroom always felt sticky and she really couldn't bring herself to clean it. Ugh, whatever, just leave. Mebuki really wanted to quit her job. She's always been a sheltered girl and had a bubbly personality. Suddenly getting a job and encountering all the nitty-gritty parts of adulthood has really stressed her out. Nonetheless, her circumstances prevented her from doing so. She had to pay back at least 6 grand per day just for the 2 million yen loan. That was 2 tempos in most gacha games. Her only way out was to win it all back by doing forex trading. She noticed that although the graph was overall on an uptrend, it would occasionally have downward movements here and there. Using these little moments of movement to her benefit, she decided to start a new plan. A plan she calls Operation Rescue Lot. Noticing an increasing trend which rises over 117, she immediately shorts 10 rescue lots. Then, when it eventually drops to a value that's lower than the rate she shorted at, she immediately closes her position, makes a small profit, and at the same time, she also closes 1 out of the 20 lots of her previous losing position. The plan was simple. She would use these small drops to make a small profit. Then, she would close some of her 20 losing lots at a loss. The profits gained from the new rescue lots and the losses from getting rid of the initial 20 lots would balance out. If she continued to do this, she would be able to reduce her losses and eventually break even. After finishing her first rescue lots mission, she sells another 10 lots when it seemed like the trend is increasing. However, as she kept waiting, the graph just refused to dump. Desperate for wins, Mebuki glared at the screen until she eventually had another successful mission when the rates dropped below 116.4. She just needed to repeat this 18 times to break even. Wait, isn't 18 a bit much? If she increased the size of her rescue lots, then she would be able to do it much faster. In her mind, the highest peak for this currency pair was 117, and thus she decided to short 25 lots. If this succeeded, she would be able to get rid of her original losses in one go. Now, Mibuki doesn't seem to understand the risk of her supposed rescue plan. What she calls rescue lots was really just a method of averaging her position. If the market doesn't move in the way she wanted, then all it would do was just amplify her loss.
Oh fuck, failed. My plan didn't work. I can't close here, I've lost so much money. If I give up here, then I'm just gonna become such a huge idiot. I have to keep holding on. Yes, I just gotta wait until another huge dump happens.
Oh fuck, oh shit, I'm gonna die.
It's reaching 116.9. Oh, why does it keep bumping? No.
Stop!
I still need those money for my loan. I don't want to keep touching those dirty, gross old men just to pay back my loan. Can everyone who's holding long positions please sell? Like, if this keeps pumping, then people like Mochio and I are gonna be so screwed. Oh my god, please, I'm ready to lose money. I'm okay with losing money. Just drop a little more. Please, just go down.
Stop! No, please don't go up. And so began the long and treacherous night for Mibuki. Every single pump, even if it's just a small rise, brought out cries of agony from Mibuki. She continued to stare at the screen for the entire night. Even though she knew it was pointless to beg and pray, it was the only thing she could do against inevitable. Objectively speaking, the trend for US dollar, Japanese yen this night was actually quite stable. But for Mibuki, it was a period of time that meant life or death, and before she knew it, morning had arrived.
Please just let it drop. Please, everybody, just please sell.
Mibuki knew more than ever that she was never going to win back her money through forex trading. She had even taken out the pay from her work in order to make her operation work better, but it was all futile now. Her naive fantasies had been crushed and she was completely defeated. Life never waited for anyone though. After that painful night, Mibuki stopped watching forex trends, but she still continued working at the salon to pay off her debt. In fact, she started skipping classes so that she could take on even more shifts to better pay off the money she owed. Although she was unused to the job at first, it actually began to feel more comfortable as she actually felt more like herself when she's just spending time with strangers. When she arrived, Mibuki worked hard to clean the facilities, refill the ointments, and even prep the room for a new guest. In fact, as she massaged a client, Mibuki even took mental notes of the different alternative techniques she could use in the future. As the session gradually came to an end, the guest decided to pick up his phone and look at his investments. As it turns out, he was also doing forex trading, and coincidentally, he also invested in the US dollar Japanese yen currency pair. According to him, an important financial index was about to be released and it could potentially greatly impact the US dollar Japanese yen market. As he showed Mibuki the charts, she was horrified to learn that the rates had crossed 120 yen. It wasn't high enough to liquidate her position, but Mibuki knew the reality was just moments away. I see. This is where I'm gonna die, in this very room. The guest began to discuss his tactics and analysis of the market, and according to him, the rates are highly likely to dump. I think it's going to pump, actually. Do you have any, evidence? Mibuki's thoughts went back to the day she found out the truth. I have to give Mochiko-senpai the money since today's payday, but she's still talking with Kurumi-senpai. I can't go over there. I think I'll just wait for them to finish talking. How's your portfolio doing? You must have earned a lot. Why would you think that? I shorted USD Japanese yen. I actually lost a lot. Come on. You don't have to keep it a secret from me. Yasuko already told me about you longing the pair and practically hitting the jackpot. I didn't hit the jackpot. It wasn't that much money. Plus, even if I did initially short USD Japanese yen, I would have cut my losses a long time ago. Only an idiot would keep holding on to a position like that in this market. No, it's just a hunch from a noob like me. The guest didn't understand what Mibuki was thinking, but he seemed to have sensed a strange sense of determination from her. As such, he decided to follow her prediction and buy 2 lots. After longing 2 lots, the line actually started going down, much to the panic of the customer. The duo attentively watched the graph as the initial drop was quickly met with a jump that pushed the value to break through 121 yen. That was it. That was the end for Mipki. She knew now that this moment marked her end in the Forex trading journey. It marked the end of her account, and it also marked the end of her naive fantasies about the world of trading. As she walked home, she seemed to have made up her mind and makes a call. "Hey mom, sorry to call you when it's so late. Is Dad still up?" "Yeah, well, there's something I want to tell you guys." And that marks the end of Mibuki's tale in Forex trading, at least for now. There's actually a bit more left to Mibuki's story in the manga, but I felt like it was best to just edit here for the video. I actually cut out a lot of details, especially those about the other characters and their backstories. If you're interested in their full stories, make sure you check out the manga or wait for the official anime adaptation this fall.